Okay, let's try to finish off so I can give you a bit of the class to do some work on your own. This one here, it says an earthquake in Alaska was 6.4, another near Japan was 50 times as intense. What was the value on the Richter scale? So whenever you're comparing earthquakes, you're always going to have a ratio to compare them, or a fraction. So the bigger number should be on the top of the fraction in order to come up with a number like 50. So that means which earthquake is larger, the one in Alaska that was 6.4 or the one near Japan that was 50 times as intense? Japan or Alaska, which one's bigger? Japan is going to have the larger one. So the larger one should go on top, and that's the one I'm looking for. Okay? The one in Alaska is smaller, so we'll put it on the bottom, equal to 50. So 10 to the x minus 6.4 equals, equals to 50. So that means log in base 10 of 50 equals x minus 6.4. And x equals log 50 plus 6.4, which I believe is C 8.1. Okay. A radioactive substance decays from 100 grams to 320 grams. So right away we should note this is the initial amount here. That's what I started with. And then this is what I'm ending with, what I have now. In 12 years. Does that have anything to do with the growth constant, or is that just how much time has gone by? That's just how much time has gone by. So this is time elapsed. Okay, and it says determine the half-life, so I know that my growth constant has got to be a half. So now I have enough information. There's currently 30 grams. We started with 100. The growth constant is half since it's half-life. And the time that's elapsed so far is 12. What I'm looking for is how often does that half-life occur. So they're using N, I will too, which means C. Oops, sorry, that's not C. That's D. Right? Yeah, that's D. Okay. The next one is surprisingly simple yet difficult. It's generally something that trips people up, but let me walk you through how I would do this. If we take one form for the equation and we try to compare it with another equation, if we want to make them equivalent, the key word is equals. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to say, how will it be that this can be equal to this? Okay, how can I make those two things equal? Okay, now I have this monstrous equation to solve, but don't worry, it gets simple real quick. If I divide by p, those disappear, and I end up with 1.09 to the t equals e to the kt. Now if I take the root t of both sides, then root t makes those disappear, and I end up with 1.09 equals e to the k. So I want to find this exponent. So in order to find that exponent, this is the log base e, or the natural log, of 1.09 equals to k. I believe that makes k equal to 0.086. So if I wanted to do it in the other form, it should be a. Okay. So I think we're into the written section here. Are there anything that needs to be reviewed before we? Okay. In the written section here, Max bought a new car for $24,000. Every year it will depreciate by 8%. How long will it take for the car to be worth $16,000? Okay, so this is what it's presently worth, and this is what I want to know its future value. So in my equation, I know I have 16,000, and its present value is 24,000. Okay. Now, if it depreciates by 8%, we probably will, most people I think will end up doing this in their rough work. If it's depreciating, it means I'm subtracting 8% every year. Some of you might jump all the way to 0.92 here, and that's fine. If I tidy this up a little bit, this is the equation I have to solve. And of course, since I'm looking for an exponent, I'll need to know what the logarithm, a logarithm to use. So the base is 0.92, so I'm going to use log base 0.92 of 2/3 is equal to t. And of course, the people at Texas Instruments weren't clever enough to put a log 0.92 on my calculator, so that means I'm going to have to make a little adjustment before I solve it. But I mean, all in all, for 5 marks, it's not too bad of a question. Log 2/3 divided by log 0.92 is 4.86. 4.863. Okay, so a little under 5 years, and your car is now worth 1/3 less. Depressing, isn't it? That's why you're supposed to buy a 2-year-old car or a 3-year-old car. Don't buy a new one. Okay. So there's just a couple of written questions left. Okay. Again, another typical type written question, solving a log equation. So in this instance, the bases are the same, so I can combine it with multiplication. If I rewrite it as an exponent, 2 cubed equals x times x minus 7. So 8 equals x squared minus 7x. And I end up with x could be either 8 or -1. If I double check, -1 won't work up here, so I can immediately reject it. 8, however, works there. It also works there, so the answer is x equals to 8. Okay. So, the last one that we'll do together. Sorry, that was a little quick. Is there anybody that's still copying? Copying down, going once, going twice. Okay. Okay. So, a biologist determines a particular bacteria grows according to this formula, and the data that they have is they know there's 500 bacteria, and then 8 days later there's 1,500 bacteria. So we have to figure out how to fit it into that model there. So at the present time, there's 1,500 bacteria. There were 500 to begin with. And we're going to use the continuous model, so e to the k. And 8 days has gone by, so that means the time elapsed is 8. So this means 3 is equal to e to the 8k. And now I need to solve it, but fortunately it's a pretty easy one to pick because I can use the natural log since I'm in base e. So natural log 3 equals to 8k, and k will be the natural log of 3 divided by 8, and that gives me about 0.1373. So again, for 5 marks, that's not really a bad question, supposing as long as you're comfortable with logs. So today, all the stuff that we've just worked through, if you're comfortable there, you should feel comfortable hitting the unit test as well. So that should be a good gauge for you.